Today's topic, we are going to be talking about adding fractions. This will go along with your lessons at the beginning of Unit 3. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to find the sum of two fractions with unlike denominators. You'll know you have it when you can correctly find the common denominator and find the sum. Some vocabulary that you will hear throughout this topic is first, fraction. A fraction represents part of a whole. For example, 1/2, 1/3, 2/3. It represents parts of one complete whole. Numerator is the top number in a fraction. Denominator is the bottom number in a fraction. We will need to find the least common multiple or least common denominator in order to solve these problems, which is the smallest integer that both numbers can be divided by. And then finally, simplify means reducing the fraction into a simpler form. Our anchor chart for this skill tells us the steps on how we're going to find the least common multiple, and then what we do after we find that least common multiple. So we can see step 1, we look at the unlike denominators, which means that the two bottom numbers in the fractions are not the same. We say, okay, what number, what factor do these have in common? So for example, up here, I know the number 5 and number 3. I can multiply both of those by a number to get 15. They have that factor in common, so that is going to be the least common multiple. Once I find that out, I'm going to decide what I need to multiply by. I'll multiply the bottom and the top by that same number, and then I will add the numerators only. Once I do that, I will simplify my fraction into a smaller form. So let's go ahead and let's do an example. So I have 5/6 plus 2/9, and I need to find the sum. So my first step here is going to be to find the least common multiple between 6 and 9. What factor do these have in common? So I need to go, all right, well, I know 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. I know that 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. And 6 times 3 is 18. So 18 would be my least common multiple. What do I need to do to make both of these denominators 18? Well, I just said I need to multiply 9 times 2 and then 6 times 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I'm also going to do to the top of that fraction. So in 5/6, I need to multiply that 5 times 3. And then in 2/9, I need to multiply that 2 times 9. I'm going to rewrite my problem with my new fractions. 5 times 3 is 15, and 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 2 times 2 is 4, 9 times 2 is 18. Now that both of my denominators are the same and my numerator reflects the math that I did to get those denominators the same, all I'm going to do is add across. 15 plus 4 is going to be the numerator in my sum. So 15 plus 4 is equal to 19. And my denominator stays the same. It's 18. Now, once I add, I'm not done yet. My last step is going to be to simplify. So in order to do that, I need to look and say, okay, is my numerator larger than my denominator? If the answer is yes, I need to create a whole number. or a mixed number, with a whole integer, okay? I know that 1 is essentially equal to the numerator and the denominator being the same. So I know that if I take 18 parts out of that numerator, it creates 1. And then whatever I have left over, it's going to be my new numerator, 1. My denominator stays the same. So the sum of 5/6 and 2/9 is 1 and 1/18. Go ahead and continue on with the lesson to get more practice on adding fractions and finding the least common multiple.